As I sit here tonight, reflecting on 10 years that are coming up tomorrow on 9/11, although I know 9/11 has a lot of significance to our country and to our great country, and it's an important day. And but tomorrow is also the birthday of our shop, and never intended it to be that way. It just kind of worked out that way. But as I sit here reflecting on that, on 10 years, looking out this door, out these windows, and I'm thinking to myself, like, 10 years, that's 3,665 days of being in the same place for working every single day. It's crazy to me. But as I tell you guys a story, my story doesn't just start here. It starts before that. So see, guys, my story just didn't start 10 years ago, guys, because I've already been a barber for 18 years. My story started years, if not generations, before me. Because see, I'm not only a first generation barber, I'm already a third generation barber. My daughter being fourth generation. My story started way before that in East LA with my grandfather, Manuel Lovio, and his brother. They used to own a shop in East LA, and 60s, 70s. In the 70s, my grandfather moved away from there and actually moved to Whittier and opened up another shop in Whittier, where he worked his final years until he retired. This barber pole that's spinning right here, that pole is actually a pole from my grandfather's barbershop. It was given to me by one of my aunts, and I had it restored. The chairs in this shop are the chairs that are in that picture right there. They were given to my uncle. My uncle gave them to me. I restored them, and now they're heirlooms for our family. But this is where my story started, guys. It started with generations. When my first vision of a barbershop was going to my grandfather's shop and getting haircuts by him, sweeping for him, me coming to his shop and him always having toys and stuff for us to have. That was my Dito. My Dito was, he was an honorable man, a hard worker. I feel that a lot of my traits of being the type of barber that I am must have come from him, because he grinded every single day, and I remember he grinded all the way until the time he passed away. Well, even when he retired, he had his clients coming to his house and getting haircuts at the house. So that's where my story started. It started with my family. So my grandfather was the first of the generations to become barber. Then my father became a barber. My uncle Bob is a barber. And then in 2001, I decided, with the encouragement of my father, of course, and the help of my father, to go into barber school and finally pick up the family business. I remember growing up all the time, he would always tell us, go become a barber, become a barber. That's an honorable trait, an honorable trade. Because in a trade business, you'll always have business. There's always going to be money to be made. And I remember him telling me, you'll never be rich, but you'll always have money. You'll always have money in your pocket. And to this day, it's a true statement. Being a barber, you're not going to get rich, but you're never going to be hungry, which is important. And from there, I started barber school in 2001 in La Puente Adult School. It wasn't a great program. It wasn't a program that cost $20,000. It was just a basic adult school that's where I started at. And even then, I remember going through barber school and not even learning too much, just going through the phases. But I already, at that moment, I already knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I was already not fell in love with the business, with the trade yet, but it was starting to set into my blood and into becoming a barber. So once I became a barber, I went to work for my uncle Bob, who is my mentor, who you saw in the picture over there. He is the first person that gave me my first job. I remember him coming to me and me coming to him and asking him, Unc, I need a job. I need a job when I get out of barber school. He goes, as soon as you get your barber's license, you got a job. No time sooner, no time less. He said, get your barber's license and you'll have a job. So I remember the first day I passed my barber's exam, and I remember calling him up, and the very next day I started working for him. And man, oh man, was that an interesting part of my life right there. Working for my uncle was awesome, was great. It was a old school shop with a old school feel, with old school guys running it. Now, these guys were, at that time, my uncle was probably, if he was 18 years, he's probably in, if he's, I think right now he's 79 or 80. So back then he had to have been 62. So he was in his early 60s, you know. But it was fun working with him. It was an incredible time. As I'm showing you guys right now, some pictures of the shop where we worked at. It was awesome. He was a great mentor to me, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot what to do and a lot what not to do from him. So it was, obviously, it was very, very interesting. I love working for my uncle. It was a great part of my story also. So from there, I worked at several other shops, not being able to, not that I wasn't able to keep jobs, it's just when you're starting off at a barber and you're not very good, it's hard to keep a job. So I bounced around for a couple of shops until, you know, I started really, really learning the trade. And that's when I really started getting into learning how to cut hair. So it took me actually several years before I actually learned how to cut hair. During that time, I had a good friend. His name was Raul. Very good friend of mine. I've known him for years. He's actually the brother of a good friend of mine, who was a client of mine at that time. He's several years younger than I am, but he was a good friend. And at that time, he was always asking me, come on, Big Al, come on, let's open a shop. Let's do it. We can open a shop. We could do it. We could do it. And at that time in my life, guys, I was in no position to try to even open a shop. I didn't really know too much about running a shop. I knew how to manage a shop because I was being a manager for one of the other barbers that I worked for. But at the same time, I wasn't doing the what it really means to run a shop, you know. So I was skeptical, and I kept telling him, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know, you know. At first, I played around with it, but it wasn't in the making. I didn't think it was going to work out. But anyway, Raul was very persistent. And he told me one day that he had a lot of faith in me, and that he knew that if we opened up the shop, that we could make it work, because he trusted me, and he knew that I would give it my all, and you know, and he was right, and so I took him up on it finally. After we dabbed around this idea for a year or two, I finally took him up on the idea of becoming a shop owner and coming to work, you know, opening up this place right here. So I remember coming here the very first time, 10 years and 2 months, because it took us 2 months to build this place. But when I remember coming here and us, okay, first of all, I remember us looking for spots to open up the shop, and we were looking around everywhere, you know, in Azusa. And my idea was to stay in the neighborhood, stay where we live, stay where we grew up at. Everybody knows us here. We have a pretty good name here in our city, in our neighborhood. So a lot of people know us. So I felt that it would be a great idea to stay in this location, stay in this city. He agreed. So we started looking in Azusa only, and he was going towards another direction of Azusa, and I'm the one that persisted on getting this location, because I remember telling him, Raul, this is going to be a great location right here. We're right on the main street. We're right next to the university. The university is the key. I go, those are the guys that we need to focus on. And Raul, you know, like as always, he took my advice, trusted me. We picked this spot right here. And I remember walking in here the very first time. This used to be a water store. I remember walking in here. There was a big giant room right here, a little room. There was a back room in the back. There was 2 restrooms. And we walked in here, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, oh man, is this going to be a barber shop? And Raul came in. We signed a lease. I don't know. All of a sudden, we had a lease. And so from there, it was just a learning process for both of us. Like, I had never built a shop. He had never built a barber shop. He's an entrepreneur. He's done a lot of other projects, but nothing like this. So, but man, I got lucky because Raul was such a good owner. He was willing to anything I needed, he always had it there for me. If I needed this, he had it for me. So when we walked in here, I told him, Raul, there's no sinks. It's the first thing you need sinks. Don't worry about it, we'll get them. Sure enough, like as you guys are seeing in these pictures right here, all of a sudden they start breaking ground in here. They had slits down the middle of the concrete right here. There was piles of dirt everywhere. It didn't look nothing like a barbershop, nothing. And I would come in here every day. During that time, I was still working at my other shop because I was the manager there. And I remember asking Big Boy, that was his name, Big Boy from Big Boy's Barbershop, and telling him like, hey man, I go, I'm gonna open my own shop, and do you mind if I keep working here? And he was super gracious, man. He didn't say no. He said, you can stay working for me until the day you open. And I said, okay, thank you, man. I very much appreciate that. And I promise you that I will not be doing anything dishonest or nothing like that. And it was awesome. He let me work here up until 9/10. And it just 9/11, it just happened to land on that day, guys. We didn't pick this day. I know the significance of 9/11 and what our country went through. No, we actually tried to avoid this day, but it kind of just landed on our lap. And it was a Friday, I remember. Friday or a Thursday, I'm pretty sure it was a Friday, because we thought like, oh man, that's the day we're gonna have to open, and that's the day the shop was ready. We were trying to open weeks before that, but the shop wasn't ready. We had to pass inspections, we had to pass all these different things that we had to do in order to get in here. And finally, we opened on 9/11 of 2009. And what we did is and what the funny thing is that opening on 9/11, on 9/09, I still didn't have any barbers. So at that moment, I was still gonna open this shop by myself. I was gonna just work it by myself until I found barbers, until we got it going and whatever. Luckily, Raul knew a couple of local barbers that worked here, and they needed, at that moment, they needed a job. So they started working here the very first day. It was the very first day. Actually met them the day before. They came in, I said, what's up, and told them the shop. And by the pictures, you guys could see the shop looked green. It was all white in here. There was nothing on the walls. There was no, we had maybe one, I think we had one banner up there, one banner over there. It was very empty and very plain. But we started that first day on 9/11 with 3 barbers, and luckily they had a lot of local traffic, those guys, so they brought their guys in. We gave $5 haircuts the first 3 days we opened, and we opened at a price of $10 a haircut, guys. $10 a haircut 10 years ago. Right now we charge $22, so we've only gone up $12 in 10 years. If that makes any kind of a difference, or if that's any significance to you guys, but just to prove that, you know, we haven't raised the prices too much. We've been staying steady, and that's what it's like in the barber business. Just stay steady. But from there, we opened up the shop. 6 months later, we had our grand opening for the city, where the mayor came down here. We did the ribbon cutting. That was on I believe it was 4/20 of 2010 when we did that. So it was several months later, but that was a big festive day too. We had a lot of people here. It was a great event, but our official day was 9/11 of 2009.
Action.
So in 10 years, guys, 10 years of being at the same location is incredible. It's incredible to me. That's the longest I've ever held a job at one certain place. You know, the longest job I have before that was, I worked 9 years for UPS when I was younger, but you know, this is the longest I've ever held a job at one place, one location, or even, being a business owner. So going back to my story, 2010, we opened up. We opened up with a bang. You know, business was good. There were 3 barbers. The shop looked a lot different than it does now. When we opened up, we only had 4 chairs. And we had 5 chairs. No, we had 4 chairs, and then we added 3 more later. We actually put a wall right here in the middle, as you can see through the pictures. There was a wall. The shop was shorter. We had a back room. We didn't think that we were going to get that busy, so we didn't think we needed that many chairs, and we kind of shortchanged ourselves. So moving along, and I think it was 3 years after we opened, I went to the boss, and I told him again, like, we need to knock this wall down. We need to open up the shop and make it bigger so we can have more barbers. And he, again, never said no to me. He agreed with me, and it was more. We were able to bring in more barbers, and we got busier, and business stayed good. It stayed good for the first 3-4 years. We were steady. We were very steady, and I was just biding my time, waiting and knowing, because when me and Raul first opened up the shop, he made a deal with me. He had told me, he goes, Big Al, he's all, let's open this shop up. You will run it for me. It's gonna be my shop. I'm putting up all the money. You're gonna run it for me, and when the time comes, you will be this owner. You will be the owner of this shop. He's all, just to prove to you he's all, I'm gonna name it after you. And at that moment, I was like, what? And he's all, yeah. He's all, we're gonna name it Big Al's Barbershop. And I was like, okay. And at when he told me that was my deal sealer right there with him, because I said, like, he's gonna have my name, So for the first 4 years of Big Al's Barbershop, I wasn't even the owner of Big Al's Barbershop. I was just the manager of Big Al's Barbershop. I ran the shop like it was my own. He let it call. He told me, call it like it's your own. I called it my own. Most people never even knew that it wasn't my shop, that I was just the manager. Everybody thought it was my shop. So fast forward a little bit. It's about 2012, I think it is. He ends up coming to me and one day and tells me, Big Al, it's time. It's time to sell the shop. And at that time, I had just barely met my girl. Me and Lisa, I'm not even lying. I think we started dating on the day that he asked me to purchase a shop. And I was like, what? And he's all like, yeah, it's time. He's all, I want out. He's all, I want out. So you need to become the owner now. And I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I was like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. But luckily I got myself in the position financially, not financially, but credibly ready in order to get myself in position to purchase a shop, because I still had to come up with all kinds of money. I had to come up with a good amount of money that I didn't have. And here I was with good credit, but no money, and the good thing is I had this already here. We've already been in business for 4 years when I had to go look for a loan to purchase a shop, and that in itself was the biggest headache of my life. It was a whole year of trying to figure out how to come up with, how to come up with this money for the shop. How to come up with this. How am I going to come up with this? And I went and refinanced my car. I took out a loan, a SBA loan that I finally qualified, that I had to go. You guys don't even understand what I had to go to try to get an SBA loan. Walking into a bank with an idea is nothing. They don't listen to ideas. If you want to purchase a shop, you need a business plan. That's the only way you could buy a shop. You have to have a business plan on paper. It has to be professionally done. That way when you present it to an SBA loan lender, they'll understand. That, and with the help of a lot of people, my girl, she gave me money. She helped me out to get into the shop. My mom helped. It was just a group effort. We ended up coming together, and the shop came together. I finally qualified for my loan, and I think it was 2013 is when I finally took over, and it was March of 2013, I think it was. Yeah, it's about 6 years now. So it's been an interesting ride, needless to say the least. It's been a great ride. I've met a lot of great people. I've seen a lot of kids grow up to be men, and now they're bringing their kids here. You know, you got to remember, guys, a barbershop is a cornerstone of every community. People come and go here, leave. You know, some people have died. Kids, I've seen kids pass away. I've seen grown men pass away. Customers, clients, the barbershop is much more than just a place where you come get your haircut. This is a community cornerstone. People come here to vent, to sometimes people come here to get away. I don't know if everybody can understand that, but it's crazy to me that I've been here already for 10 years, and I seen it coming. We're grinding through it. Now we're waiting for the 20th. So that, and I'm sure in due time that will come. It will come. So 10 years, guys. 10 years. There's been a lot of people that have come through here. A lot of barbers have worked here. A lot of great barbers. Barbers have gone on to open their own shops. Gone on to work for other people. Built a lot of friendships. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. My best advice for any of you guys out there that are listening to this story and you're hearing my story and how I got my shop, all I can say, guys, is if you have that opportunity someday, because, opportunities don't always come. And sometimes we dodge them, and we're scared to take chances. But you guys have to remember, without taking that chance, I would never be here right now. I don't know if I would have my own shop. I don't know if I'd probably be working for somebody else still. I don't know. Maybe I probably would have opened my shop by now, but it was just a chance, an opportunity that came my way, and I just happened to jump on it. I just happened to ride with it and grind through it. And that's the whole thing, guys. If you are out there and you're working for somebody and you want to be a barbershop owner someday, treat that shop like it's your own. Because guess what? One day when you own your own shop, you're going to want somebody to treat your shop like it's their own too. And the way you work there is the way you're going to work somewhere else. So train yourself, train your mind and your body now. That way, when you become a barbershop owner, you'll already be in that groove, and everything will flow more evenly. But that's my story, guys. That's my story. That's how I got started. That's where Big Al's Barbershop started. And now I'm building my brand. This is not just a shop. To you guys, this might just, or to people out there, this might just be a shop, but this is not just a shop. It's a brand. Big Al's Barber brand is on the rise, and it has a lot to do with my story, I think, because the story that of my background and how I got here, my family, my history of in the barber business is just, I feel like I'm lucky. I feel like I have all this story behind me, and it just, I feel grateful. I feel grateful for being able to be here for my community and to be able to help and do whatever I can, even though it's just being a barber. But like I said, we are a cornerstone for every community. And don't ever let anybody downplay this business. This is a great business. It's a craft. It's something that to be taken serious, and you're only going to get what you put into it. Remember that. If you want to be successful, then you got to grind hard and you got to work hard every day. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of headaches and a lot of downfalls. There's going to be some times where you fail. And just because you fail doesn't mean that it's over. Just because you fail one day doesn't mean that everything's done. You got to climb back up the next morning and get back on that horse and grind harder the next day. And if you guys do it, if I did it, you guys can do it. I'll leave you guys with this story, all right? If I did it, you guys can do it. Anybody could do it. But with that being said, that is the story of Big Al's Barber Shop, how I got it, how it came to be. And I'm the first one to tell you guys, without my friend Raul, I don't think this place would be here. So even to this day, I still thank him. Just the other day, I told him, man, I go, I'm still grateful to you, bro. I'm grateful for you believing me and you giving me that opportunity and you having faith in me. And to this day, he still tells me, like, Big Al, I would never have done it with nobody else but you. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel, he's a good friend. And to this day, he's still my good buddy. He comes in here all the time. And people now, they don't realize that he used to be the owner of Big Al's Barbershop. Even the barbers that work here, they never knew him as the owner. So I always tell them, I used to be the ex-owner right there. That's the jefe, the real jefe. But hey guys, with that being said, that's it for today, for this vlog. Tomorrow is our 10-year anniversary. So tomorrow I'll be putting up clips of tomorrow. If you guys want to see how we got everything ready for this big celebration tomorrow, I encourage you guys go to my girl's YouTube channel, Lisa Marie, the barber wife, and we've been vlogging on there. You know me, guys, I'm a vlogger, so we've been vlogging on there, and we went step by step through the whole process of this celebration. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you guys go over there and subscribe. With that being said, guys, I appreciate every single one of you guys always showing up and showing love to my channel. With that being said, guys, grind on. See you guys next time, or 10 years from now, should I say.